Awesome. How's everybody doing tonight? So tonight I'm back at Awakenings. It's where we did our first one at here 4 weeks ago. Awesome. Hot time's flowing, right? So we got a little bit larger crowd than we had here 4 weeks ago when we first started out. Got a group of volunteers here right now, a couple Christians. They got an organization here, and they're doing some recruiting. It's called Serve Now. Anyway, so what they got are some missions for those who want to be able to take things out of export from here in the U.S. abroad. So they got missions in the Ukraine, Nepal, Uganda, India. I think it's good that they want to be able to take the wealth and the knowledge and the experience that they've learned here and be able to take it out to other countries and help what's going on around the world, because, let's face it, it's a great nation. An awful lot of wealth, awful lot of experience, awful lot of skill we're able to export and take to these places and help people actually grow and become better. The thing is we got problems right here, right? We got low income. We got hate. Seriously, we got hate here in America. What was it, 2 days ago? We had somebody walk in and shoot up a synagogue. These are Americans. 11 Americans dead because of hate. I don't understand it myself. I just don't. We got so much to offer here. There's no reason for us to be afraid of each other. Let around killing each other. Where's the love? Where's the compassion? Where's the sense of community? Where's the sense of love thy neighbor? And it's so easy here. It is so easy. There's no need for the hate. There's no need for the division, the divisiveness. Yes, we are a diverse America. We are a melting pot of cultures.
That's our strength.
And it's one of our greatest strengths. It is not that people come here wanting to change who we are. They want to be Americans. They want to be part of our culture. They want to grow and become part of this great nation. Yes, they bring little pieces of their culture with them. It's unavoidable. I live in a neighborhood right now where we have an awful lot of young children, refugees. Many of them were born in refugee camps. They came over here, never having known the land their parents grew up in. And you listen to them and they speak. Hey, Adrian. And, it's polyglot because they speak 4 or 5 different languages because that's how many different languages we have in the apartment complex. Somali, Syrian, Afghani, I shouldn't say Afghani because there's like about 22 different languages you speak in Afghanistan. Pashtun, Dari, all of these different languages that all of these young people have brought with their parents. And you listen to them speak, and it's amazing listening to them. And it's weird, because if you listen long enough, you can actually hear when the language changes. But they're here in America. They're here in Idaho, and they want to be part of our culture. They want to do great things. They want to do amazing things. They want to be part of our community. They are a part of our community. The outreach that came after the synagogue shooting in Pittsburgh. They actually had to cancel an outreach event because it grew too big for the synagogue that they had planned on holding the event at. They had to replan, reorganize, and come up with another venue for this, outreach, this candlelight vigil or whatever it was they had planned. So it's amazing here in Boise, amazing here in Idaho. We're willing to reach out. We're willing to offer that aid. It's not that dissimilar from the event, what was it, about 2 months ago when the refugees in the community Had the crazy guy that ran into a group of people at a children's birthday party and started stabbing people. Amazing outreach. Had people show up down at Boise City Hall, had the candlelight vigil, had the memorial. And I don't understand why we continue to have so much fear about those people who want to come here and want to be part of our community. Anyway, so enough about that. So
one thing before you move on, one thing that I think people often don't pay attention to is most of the problems we have with refugees or with this, it's the government that we have a problem with because they don't hold them accountable or they don't.
It's not the refugees, okay? The refugees that are problematic, our law enforcement isn't taking proper care of the problem. They come in, they have trouble with the witnesses because they can't understand the witnesses. It's got to go through a translator. We're not actually holding the problem refugees accountable for the shit they do. So it goes back to equal law enforcement. You don't get a free pass just because you don't speak the language. Adapt. Deal with it. Honor our laws. Everything will be fine. But that's comes back to training our law enforcement, making sure that they're effective and able to do what it is they do. So, enough of our refugee issue. Okay. We have refugees. 600 to 2,000 refugees are brought into Idaho every year. 600 to 2,000. Okay. 2016, 2,000 refugees came into Idaho. 2,000. Now, of the 8,500 immigrants that came to Idaho from outside of the United States, 8,000, a quarter of them were refugees. Okay? The only immigrants that outnumbered foreign nationals to Idaho were Californians. I can't blame the Californians. They all got their they all got their I-5 PTSD. They're all running from that crazy stuff that's going down on the West Coast. California, Oregon, Washington. I got it. It sucks. Those Democrats have lost their friggin' minds. Happens. But, it's one of those things. Even our most liberal politician in Idaho, our most progressive, they're actually more conservative than your average California Republican or New York Republican. Seriously, it's crazy. If you actually talk to Idaho Democrats, they don't understand how liberals, they don't understand how liberal, some of the Republicans are along those East Coast, West Coast corridors of I-5, I-95. Just crazy. Anyway, so other issues that we're looking at. LGBTQ plus rights. I don't even know why we're discussing it. We've actually reached a point right now where we have to write laws to tell people to mind their own business. Right. Really? Really? You're going to make somebody write a law because you insist on being an asshole because somebody else doesn't love the same way you do. Please, guys. Please. But we're going to have to do it. Reason why is because some of you can't learn to love.
You don't have to love them. Just leave them alone.
Right? Robert's got a point. You don't have to love. Just leave them alone, man. They're not doing you any harm. Right? It's all about the laws of consent. As long as they don't bother you, you don't bother them. They want to go down, have a party, have a celebration. Do an awesome drag show. Let them, man. And it's not like they're taking anything from you by doing it.
And that's one time you'd be glad that they're telling you that they're
anyway.
Pretty hot guys. I didn't know they were guys.
Oh, poor Robert. Poor Robert. Yes, yes. Yeah, we got some guys that dress up as girls that look better than some of the girls. It happens. A lot of variety in the human condition. A lot of variety in the human condition. There's no reason to be ashamed of any of it. You know, 7.5 billion people on the planet right now. I mean, are we really still in a position where we need to reproduce for the greater glory of God? No, I don't think so. We got plenty of breeders already, so let people be themselves. You know, whatever that means. A lot of great people out there, you know, regardless of how they love, regardless of who they love. You know, they're awesome. They're caring. They reach out to people. They do great things. You know, amazing people. You know, and I admit, you know, there's a lot of people that aren't comfortable with who they are on the outside. You know, they don't see themselves the same way. You know, they don't see themselves in the body they were gifted with at birth. You know, doesn't make them wrong. They just want to be who they are inside. They want to show the outside world who they feel like on the inside. And we have the technology to make that happen these days. You know, go in, get an operation. Become something other than who you were when you were born. You know, be you. Be the best you can be. And by the same token, allow them to be the best that they can be by being who they need to be to feel good about the role they play in our lives. You know, regardless of how you feel about it, you know somebody who loves somebody who is a member of the LGBTQ plus community. Accept it. Love them. You know, let them be part of your community. And believe me, you'll be amazed at the avenues that open up for you. You know, in understanding the human condition and understanding another human being. You know, seeing someone who is just different than you be able to express themselves in a positive way. So, how you doing, Bill? Catherine, nice to see you join us. Yeah, so.
On something in local news here recently, it was a home invader.
Right.
The homeowner shot him, killed the invader. From my understanding, he went to jail.
Is that local?
It was in Kootenai County.
Kootenai County, Idaho. Home invasion. Did he kill the invader?
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
It's our friend from
So,
Ukraine's birthday.
Our Serve Now Ministries has just joined us and offered us cake.
Oh!
Isn't this awesome? Hey, no, it's all right. It's all right.
I would make you set up a chair, though.
So, anyway.
Well,
Again.
if the stand your ground law would have passed this last time, the guy would have had to go to jail. But from my understanding, he had to go to jail over it, even though the guy.
Okay, so Kootenai County, guy shot a home invader. Yes, he had to spend the night in jail because currently that's the way our laws work here in Idaho. Yeah, despite the Castle Doctrine that we largely agree to, despite our current self-defense laws, you know, he died, right?
The intruder?
The intruder.
Yeah.
Okay. Intruder died. Somebody died. Okay. Shooter had to go to jail. Yes, he was defending his home. He's got a positive defense. Did he get out on bail?
Not that I know of. I know he went to jail, but the main thing is that he's still facing prosecution because
Right.
he has to prove that.
And so he's got to prove that he was actually defending himself and property. So he's still got to go to trial. You know, it's our current laws about gun are not the same as they are in Florida right now, where essentially all you have to do is claim that you were in self-defense, and then it's up to the prosecution to prove that you're lying before they can actually have you arrested and put in jail. Somebody died, you go to jail, and then you have to prove your innocence. Yes, that is the way Idaho's gun laws, or the way Idaho's homicide defense currently works.
Well, even if you just shoot him, you have to prove that you couldn't have ran away, even if you don't kill him, without the stand your ground. You don't have. You don't have
Well,
to kill him.
hold on. Castle doctrine versus stand your ground. Okay, this was a home intrusion, right?
Yes.
Okay, Castle doctrine, you have no duty to retreat because your defense of personal and private property.
But if you could have, and you actually shot them, then the prosecution is free to prosecute you because you could have taken other.
I thought we had
actions.
rolled that over.
No, we tried, but it didn't pass. That part of it didn't pass. The NRA kind of got in there and pushed their own bill. So yeah, now you're open.
Yeah, the NRA fucked us. You believe that shit? The NRA fucked us.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Fuck the NRA.
They came up with a secondary bill, which basically took.
NRA came up with a law that allows the prosecution to send people to prison for defending themselves. Okay. Wait, that doesn't sound like the way the NRA should be doing business. And on this one, I actually got to side with our Idaho Second Amendment Alliance guys. Yeah. Castle doctrine. Right to defend personal home and property. Stand your ground. Yeah. Right to defend yourself and those people around you with, in the event of threat. Hey, Joe, glad to see you're here from Portland. Yeah. Joe, a proud deplorable. Awesome. Aren't we all deplorable? Yeah, I know Hillary definitely doesn't like us. But yeah. So, Idaho, we still got a couple issues that we need to work out with regards to the Castle Doctrine and stand your ground. And I got to admit, I do have an issue with the way Florida has handled their stand your ground laws. Okay? They got a really shitty track record around there, and it really gives the stand your ground principle a bad reputation. I mean, seriously, when professionals have to get together and jump on the prosecutor's case to send somebody to jail and actually prosecute them because they waited, 5 seconds?
I don't know. Basically, yeah.
Guy gets in his wife's. Guy picks a fight with this guy's wife in the parking lot. Guy walks out, pushes the guy back. Get distance away from my wife, man. Just get back. Dumbass loses his balance, falls on his ass. 4 seconds later, he decides to pull his gun and shoot the guy who pushed him. Guy wasn't a threat at that point. Florida, they fuck it for everybody. I don't know what it is about Florida, man. They just insist on fucking it for everybody. Well, California is a different issue. California is a different issue because they like to take everything. They don't even give you a chance to defend yourself. They just go in and take your guns.
You got to put your gun together.
Which again is why I understand why all of the California Republicans are coming up to Idaho, after their I-5 PTSD. Got it. Folks, come on. Stay down there. Fix your problems down there. We got problems up here. And it's usually on the flip side of the coin. Now you come running here. You go, yeah. You come running up here because you can't cope with the problems you got down there, and all you're doing is making our problems up here worse because you damn knee-jerk reactions. And I got to go back to the fact that an Idaho Democrat is still more conservative than a California Republican. Come on, guys. We vote the people here. We vote the people here. Okay? We don't vote party. Because the rules that apply to the DNC and the GOP, they don't work in Idaho, folks. They just don't work. And that especially sucks because we didn't get enough libertarians running this time. What's with that? Where's my Idaho libertarians at? Why didn't you run? We got like 5 of us that ran. 5. 119 state seats open. 5 libertarians ran. Where were you, man? Come on.
People are scared that third party won't win, but I can tell you just from the climate I see,
Right?
there's a lot of Republicans that are sick and tired of the Republican Party.
You got Idaho Republicans that are sick of Idaho Republicans. I know, I'm pretty sick of them. Fucking state is gonna state, man. State is gonna state. Anyway. But, so what else? Second Amendment. Yep. The original Homeland Security. That it is. Second Amendment, defend your property, defend yourself. Defend your family.
When you don't even have to pull the gun, just having the gun, a lot of times.
Right.
Like, oh, maybe
An armed
we should-
society is a polite society.
You disrespected this duel.
I don't know if we're ready to bring dueling back yet, Robert. Not sure if we're ready to bring dueling back. As tempting as it is, I'm not sure we're ready to go there yet.
People get their feelings
Also,
hurt.
right? Joy, Second Amendment, right? America's Second Amendment is a woman's first line of defense. Guy doesn't respect, no? Shoot his ass.
Or something a little bit forward more.
Or maybe something more towards the front rather than the back. Oh, yeah, I know I shouldn't be advocating violence for that. But, ladies, come on. Make sure the man respects you. Make sure he respects you.
And if not, at least you respect your gun. It's an equalizer. My 13-year-old daughter can take on the biggest man in the world because she knows how to use a gun.
Yep. Arm your girls. Teach them how to use a gun. No reason they shouldn't know how to. Yep, Coke and Sprite, different flavors, same company. Republicans and Democrats. Yep. For the most part, you're right. You know, it's one of those things where, unfortunately, right now there's only 2 main parties, and a lot of good people usually have to pick one or the other to run with. It's just unfortunate that if you don't actually get out and meet the people, and you just vote party lines, that's when you end up stuck with asshats. Absolutely. You take care of him, Joy. Make sure he respects you. So what are some of the other issues? Okay, we've already covered hate crimes. Don't go shooting up synagogues and mosques. They're good neighbors. Some have been here 20, 40, 100 years. They're part of Idaho. They're part of our community. They're part of what makes us great. Our LGBTQ. Love them, man. Love them so that they can love themselves. Be good neighbors. Be good supporters. Be good allies. And if you can't, just leave them alone. Just leave them alone. And they'll leave you alone. Too easy. Second Amendment, big issue. We definitely need to fix, right? Stand your ground. Woman's first line of defense. It's one of the big issues with Idaho's constitutional carry right now. Right now. Yeah. If you're 18, 19, or 20, you've got to jump through hoops in order to carry concealed. A lot of hoops to carry concealed.
So you're 21.
Why is that? You know, they'll issue a license to somebody, you know, you turn 21, here's your license. Pretty much slam dunk. Automatic walk in, say, I want a concealed carry. Sheriff turns around and hands it to you. You know what else you can do the day you turn 21? You can have your first drink. Personally, I don't understand the logic behind that. You know, why are we waiting until 21 when you can start drinking and actually learn gun safety? Learn how to handle your gun, learn the rules of the tool. Yeah. Aren't we going ahead and making this accessible at 18? And seriously. Who needs that pistol more? Who needs that equalizer more? That 18-year-old college girl, college woman who's, you know, living in the dorms, away from her family for the first time ever? Or that drunk 21-year-old frat boy? Come on, 18. Make it 18. Teach them how to handle it while they're still sober.
You're still sober? Is that what you said?
Yes,
I think
18.
I think I
Teach them
drank
how to
more-
handle their weepons while they're still sober.
I think I drank
Dude,
more
you and I
than
were of a different age, though, right?
You're sober. Leave me.
And well, nobody should be carrying a weapon while they're drunk anyway, right? There is a law against that. Don't carry when you've been drinking. Ladies, if you're going out and you're planning on drinking, have a designated shooter. Hey, how you doing, man?
Not bad. Have you met my gal? This is Tiana.
Hi, Tiana.
This is Joe Evans.
All right, so we got a couple visitors tonight. Come in and join us.
Yeah, hey, I'm so sorry. I think I lost your guys' cards. I was like, you guys gave me everything, and then I was like, I think I washed them.
That happens.
And I was like, I felt
It happened. So you guys still got the Halloween party going on tomorrow night?
Yes. So
Awesome.
we're in the process of securing a room. My faculty advisor is like, hey, give us a room. We've been asking for this for like 3 months.
Okay, so Young Americans for Liberty, they're in the house tonight. Come on, introduce yourselves.
Hey guys, so we're Young Americans for Liberty. We're also affiliated with Students for Liberty and the Leadership Institute. We are all around a group that just wants to support liberty. They want to support you. My goal is to make college libertarians who really want to go out there and do more. And that doesn't mean like libertarian in the sense that they had to become a libertarian in the party. That would be great, but they take it into the other parties, even better. Let's bring liberty to the Valley. I know there's a lot of like very strong conservatives who are like pro Second Amendment. There's a lot of liberty groups here, and let's bring us together and start holding conventions on campus. Especially since there's now a new Marxist group on campus.
By Marxist, he means ANCOMs. You know, those anarchist communist folks.
Yeah.
It's crazy how accepted that idea is anymore. It's like, I think honestly, if we want some complete representation, I think they should just allow a communist party. At least
Right. Well, right.
Yeah.
We need more. We need more parties. We need more diversity in our politics. We do. Need more diversity.
15 parties.
Democratic Socialists of America, Young Communists of America. Whatever they want to call themselves.
At least
We need to have that variety so we can foster positive discussions about where we want to go as Americans.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, yeah. And it's like, the cool thing is now we get to teach Marxist philosophy and why his critiques on capitalism, even though they may be grandeur, you cannot organize a system and collect all the information and try to manipulate the price system and create a living system where there's equality or equal in outcome, and also a creation of wealth.
Yeah. So,
just like any damn government monopolizes anything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Through the roof.
but so they got a great program. They're getting started at Boise State right now. What is it? Your 55th right now? Across the nation, Young Americans for Liberty.
Oh, we're 26. Yeah.
Oh, they're up to 26th now.
Yeah.
Nice. So they're up to 26th. Okay, so that's the size of the chapters, across America on college campuses, Young Americans for Liberty. They're up to 26. And that was like, they were at 55 like all of 3 days ago. So they're growing in leaps and bounds. But, regardless of your party affiliation, the Republicans have their Liberty Caucus. Absolutely. And Libertarian Party, we got them, even the Democrats have their own version of a libertarian, caucus as well, trying to move it back. Even the Greens, particularly at the state and the federal level, the Greens are very much aligned at those levels. Not so much on the local level, but at the state and federal level, the Greens are very much aligned with the Liberty platform. But it's one of those things, they're working, growing that. And we do need to get political diversity so we can actually have honest discussions about politics, about policies, about platforms. And more than anything else, we need to come to a common language about those policies and politics. Because it's like when I try and talk to a Green or Democrat Socialist of America or, the communists, young communists, we always have this problem in that we use the same words, but we mean completely different things. We don't have common terms anymore. For me, when I talked about capitalism, that's, to me, that's capitalism, but
But you gotta understand it.
when you talk to a lot of other people from the Democratic Socialist side, when they say capitalism, they mean crony capitalism, or worse, crony corporatism. Now we all know crony corporatism and crony capitalism is bad. It's not a free market model. It isn't. Let's be honest. Crony capitalism, it's not a free market model. But the thing is when we say capitalism to them, that's what they think we're talking about. Cronyism. So we need to get back to where we're actually talking back and forth and sharing these ideas so we can come to a common language again, for policies and platforms. Probably still never going to agree with him. Reason why is because I believe in freedom. And there are certain aspects of a lot of those policies, a lot of those beliefs, a lot of those faiths that just are anti-freedom. But we can probably find a lot more common ground if we're actually talking the same language. But yeah, so awesome news. They're up to 26 across the nation right now and still growing. And they got a party. Hopefully they're able to get that room tonight or tomorrow. It's November 1st. We're going to have a party. As soon as they get a room, we'll go ahead and share it on the site. And those of you who are interested, young students, Bill, awesome. Catch you later. Hey, Lawrence. Appreciate the support. So, any of you guys got any issues that you want me to talk about? And I can talk all night about different issues, this, that, and the other. But what I want to know is what sort of things concern you. And while I'm waiting for feedback from you guys, all of you, let's go ahead and discuss Proposition 1. Okay, Proposition 1 is the horse racing, the gambling. Okay. Yeah, there's an awful lot of money fighting that right now. Reason why is because Coeur d'Alene Tribe has a vested interest in it. They don't want to see it pass.
I know you don't like it.
Right? Look up the word fascist in any dictionary before 2009. Okay, what was fascism before 2009? It was corporatism. Mussolini basically created the word. He made it up, fascism. It was that blending of government and corporations, for a single purpose. It's business in bed with government. Crony capitalism is fascism.
Is it my hair's crazy?
Now the thing is communism is just sort of the reverse thing. Is what it is government takes over business and then runs it its own way. And so communism, fascism, you basically went so far around the circle you're back where you began. But yeah, there's an awful lot of young kids out there that just do not understand the difference. Yeah, you know Dwayne, right? Yeah. Hey, Dwayne, Joy says hi. Let's see, what else have we got? Okay, Proposition 1, the gambling. Okay, yes, it'll bring money into schools. Right now, there's a little bit of discussion as to exactly what the numbers mean. Reason why is because 0.5% of the total gross revenues from gambling is supposed to go towards the building, the school fund, permanent building fund for the schools. Now, if you look at it, 0.05% doesn't seem like an awful lot. Step back and you take a look at what the returns are. Idaho Gaming Commission requires that something like 90% of the money that's brought in actually goes back out. So there's only like 10% of the revenue on any given day is actually going to be profit. So 0.5% of the gross represents 20% of the profit from the gambling going towards the fund. Now, gambling, it's a vice. 20% tax on profits on the vice. Considering you're paying 30% on your labor right now, 0.5% may not be fair. But in the meantime, everybody's getting jobs, because there's work related to the gambling, there's work related to the races, there's the veterinary stuff that goes on, a lot of different ways. Damn, Mark, you hit me with a new term I'm not familiar with. Give me a moment to go ahead and check, see what we got going on with Backbeat. Oh, dude, got it. The Bureau. Dude, that Bureau just needs to go the fuck away. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. We got ATF. See, I would have understood it if you just left it at ATF. I've been around that long. Yeah, ATF needs to go the hell away. We have absolutely no use for it whatsoever. Alcohol is not in prohibition. Firearms are not in prohibition. Tobacco is not in prohibition. There's absolutely no need for it right now. States do a fairly good job of regulating, and the industries themselves at this point are actually fairly good at self-regulation as well. Reason why is because we've got enough different safety measures in place. People know what a good cigarette is. They're not going to buy the shitty ones. Same with guns. Educated population that's educated about their tools, about the firearms. They're not going to make stupid decisions about, their firearms. They're not. ATF, DEA, another one, just needs to go away. I still don't understand why Congress created those organizations. And it's a crock of shit because these were organizations that were created by Congress, turned over to the executive branch, and basically given congressional ability to write their own rules. Write their own rules and regulations. The creation of those two organizations, the ATF and the DEA, was just lazy-ass statesmanship. It was Congress who didn't want to do their job. So they created these BS organizations and gave them the ability to self-regulate. We need to do better. But the ATF and the DEA, they just need to go away. Legalization of cannabis, critical. We need to make it happen. Right now, 20% of Idaho's prison population, cannabis related. Whether and all they were doing was trying to make sure that people had what they needed to be happy. Right? Nobody was hurt. All the exchanges were consensual. People wanted a little smoke. Somebody found them a little smoke. Next thing you know, they're sitting in prison for it. We can do better. Black markets matter. I know that's a little bit, a little bit tongue-in-cheek. But I mean, seriously, there is no reason for any black markets to exist in America. None whatsoever. No black markets for drugs, no black market for tobacco, no black market for alcohol. There are so many things that right now are legislated as illegal that have no reason to be illegal. Cannabis, one of the worst. There's absolutely, it's only like in the last 10 years we've actually started making inroads. Legalization of cannabis in America. And the funny thing is cannabis 10 years ago was the only natural plant, that was completely, that was under effective complete prohibition. We had legal variations of just about every other drug that was on the market. Heroin. And how long have they been selling Norco and Oxycontin? You know, drugs have been around forever. Norco, Oxycontin, legal heroin. You know, and so many other drugs that are out there. You know, that were legal for a doctor to prescribe to you. You know, regardless of how addictive it was, regardless of how bad for your health it was. You know, all the other forms of those plants were legal. But cannabis, they made it illegal. You know, probably one of the few plants out there with the best health benefits and the lowest side effects overall. It's been illegal for, you know, what, since 1970, ever since Nixon, you know, declared the war on drugs. The war on drugs, it's a failed war. You know, it's just another one of those wars that we started that we haven't finished. You know, the war on drugs, the war on poverty, the war on terror. You know, all wars we started, but we still haven't finished. Now, it's time to admit we lost him. Admit we lost him. Pull our resources. Figure out what it is that we did wrong, why we lost them, and fix that. Yeah, because every one of those wars, you know, they didn't attack the solution. All they did was attack the people. You know, we didn't stop the drugs coming into America. All we did was put Americans in prison for enjoying those drugs. You know, we didn't stop poverty in America with our war on poverty. All we did was create more poverty. You know, our war on terror. All we're doing right now is create more terrorists. We can do better than that. And the wars and the militarization of America. You know, take America back from the corporates. You know, improve our lives. Give us our liberties. Give us our freedoms. Give us our choices back on how we live our lives. And we'll make a better, greater America than ever before. Now, we don't need the government to tell us how to live. We don't need the corporations to tell us how to live in order to make our nation a better nation. Awesome. So I'm going to take a few moments here. Thank all of you for watching, paying attention. You know, I know you've had to sift through about 45 minutes of me talking and chatting here. You know, been a little bit vulgar. Yeah, I know. Get a little heated about some issues every so often, and the occasional, well, not so good works out. You know, ugly words like Republican and fascist and communist and, you know, Democrat. Yeah, well, sometimes you got to call it what it is, right?
You would ever want me to write articles about it?
So,
I'm actually going to try
right?
fundraiser
Right.
for sex trafficking.
Dwayne just started talking about a great subject right now.
Yeah.
And it's an issue we actually have a problem with in Idaho. Okay? And so I'm going to let Dwayne talk for a few moments here about sex trafficking. You know, what the causes are, you know, what the root problem is, and different solutions, different policies that we can do about sex trafficking in order to fix the issue. So, Dwayne, you're up, man.
Hey guys, so sex trafficking is a much bigger deal than most people think. Reason being is because we have the biggest center, the biggest hub of sex trafficking literally right next door to us in Portland, Oregon. Like, the biggest in the United States. Like, there's rumors that like 40,000 children are cycled through there yearly. It's insane. And some of the things you need to know about sex trafficking is it happens while people are traveling most often. So if you ever see young children unattended or young people who look battered at an airport, be especially attentive. Make sure you go up to them, ask them if they're okay. If they look suspicious, report them. You know, it is it's better to help someone, you know, in need, and look like the bad guy to them in their eyes, and help them get into the place. So anyways, there's actually free market solutions to this. Right here in Boise, we have a place called Inside Out Salon, and it's ran by my friend Mike. And it is this beautiful industry where a portion of their income actually goes towards helping women transition out of sex trafficking. And it's a bigger thing than you think. So getting into sex trafficking, it happens through tight immigration policies where people are desperate to get their children across the border because they're escaping either very poor economic times or even brutal regimes. And so under the fear that their children will never see a bright, free future, they often give their children to these cartels that end up taking their children and putting them into sex trafficking. The same thing happens with lonely teenagers, who both male and female. Yes, it happens with males too. And they target these people out in local streets. They look for people who are alone. They look for at-risk people. And another big place that happens, it actually happens in CPS. So you need to be aware that, hey, like, we need to have accountability inside government as well when it comes to our children. They might not be your child physically, but they're all our children metaphysically. So we came here through, you know, generosity and innovation, and I don't think we should give up that volunteerism, that compassion we have for people. So, I mean, that pretty much covers it up.
So what are the statistics right now for sex trafficking? Approximately how many children in the Pacific Northwest?
So I know nationally they say there's about 100,000 children that are in the sex trafficking, which is a lot. You know, if you think about 100,000, that's a big city. That's like Portland. Imagine a city of children going through the system, and this is in Iowa, or not in Iowa, but in the whole United States. I'm from Iowa. It was a big problem there too. So.
Go ahead. Is there any particular demographic that gets hit a little harder than any of the others?
Yeah, I would say big cities. Again, you're looking at travel hubs, right? You're going to look at any place that has a large demographic that has traffic flow through it, whether that's big business, you know, if that's a heavy traffic route for trucks, if that's a popular, you know, airplane or place to fly into, tourist attractions. These are all, you got to think about it. Like, they're going to take a chance of the opportunity to kind of blend into the crowd and disappear.
Yeah.
And it even takes sometimes in some of these places a year of you kind of visiting older prostitutes before they would actually reveal to you the truth. So,
Yeah. So, thank you, Dwayne. Appreciate that update on what is a rather big issue. Again, this goes back to black market issues. Black markets matter. Sex trafficking black market is one that definitely should not exist, you know, regardless. And some of the free market options that we can look at with regards to that is, one, decriminalization of prostitution, decriminalization of sex work. It's one of those things we can do. Reason why is because this actually promotes voluntary sex work rather than sex slavery, sex trafficking. You know, it's like there's no shortage of people right now who would be willing to do it. Now, admittedly, the reasons they want to do it are because of, you know, lifestyle, issues of skills, you know, other ability, you know, the fact that they don't feel like they have other options. Whether it's because of lack of education, you know, lack of support, you know, but by the same token, there's a lot of these people who actually have felt empowered through sex work. So, you know, it's one of those, we need to remove the stigma from it, you know, accept that it occurs, you know, and give people an opportunity to do things voluntarily, fill the market with volunteers rather than filling the market with sex trafficked children and slaves. You know, And this goes back to the immigration issue again. You know, as Dwayne was pointing out, a lot of people who are being trafficked, being sex trafficked, are here because of our current immigration policies. They're being trafficked and they're being exploited because of our current immigration policies. So one more thing that we need to get fixed if we're actually going to look at returning to a true free market in America, you know, decriminalization of the process and removal of those black markets that facilitate exploitation of people rather than actually giving people what they want. That is a choice about the way they do things, about the way they do business. But yeah, sex trafficking, big issue. Now, I know Dwayne didn't mention it, but one of the problems that we have right here in Idaho with regards to sex trafficking isn't so much the migrant workers that come through that have been properly documented with regards to their work visas, but it's about the young women that are being abducted off the reservations. You know, reservations haven't been treated fairly in Idaho for a long time. The crimes that occur on the reservations don't get reported. People who go onto the reservations to commit crimes and then turn around and leave don't get properly prosecuted. The reason why is because the tribal authority doesn't extend beyond the reservation borders, and the local police won't actually protect indigenous people who are living on the reservations from the criminals that live in their communities. You know, and that's just bad news, because once those criminals, that behavior pattern, once they get used to doing it and getting away with it on the reservations, they start exporting that to other communities. You know, it just continues to get worse. So we need to start looking after our more disadvantaged people all across Idaho. You know, whether it's impoverished, whether they're refugees, whether they're immigrants, you know, here, documented or undocumented. Whether they're in poverty or undereducated, we need to look at making sure that we take better care. You know, not necessarily through legislation or through state organizations, because we've all seen how fast a state organization can become corrupted, you know, through its own bureaucracy, but through our voluntarism, you know, working with those organizations. You know, there's like 2 or 3 organizations right now in Boise that actually work on the sex trafficking issue. We have 4 organizations that assist with international refugee placement. We have the ACLU that helps with regards to rights. You know, there are no shortage of volunteer, 7, I think we're actually upwards of 8,000 nonprofit organizations in the state of Idaho right now that help with different demographics, different organizations, you know, all with a different purpose on making sure that, you know, it's a better world. You know, take a little time, find one that you like, go out and work for them, work with them, understand what it is they're doing, why it is they're doing, and what it is they're trying to do. You know, not all of them are good, because a lot of them are actually lobbying for laws that make the problems they're trying to fight a lot worse. But until you actually sit down and talk with them and understand why they do what they do, you know, understand what their emotional attachment is to their particular program, you know, you can't step back and understand what actually needs to be done to fix the problem. Now, making things illegal does not fix the problem. You know, education fixes the problem. Teaching people fixes the problem. Volunteering fixes the problem. You know, making it illegal, you know, not only does it not fix the problem, it adds a whole bunch of other problems on top of it. Now, I know an awful lot of people out there are going, but Joe, freedom's scary. I don't know if I can take responsibility for myself. Come on, guys. We got to grow up sometime. Now, we have to step back, realize that we are our own people. We have our own power. We are responsible for who we are and what we do and what we become. You know, and once we recognize our own power, we're able to reach out and help other people achieve their power. But as long as we become dependent upon government handouts time and time again, as long as we keep becoming dependent upon law enforcement to solve our problems because we refuse to talk to our neighbors, you know, we don't solve problems, we just make them worse. Yeah. Daniel, people with disabilities. Compassion, man. Compassion. You know, I know an awful lot of them that are brilliant people, intelligent people. You know, they're just not able to be as mobile as you or I. They got great ideas. They're artistic. They're talented. You know, they get out. They add to our community in so many ways. You know, let's face it, they're inventive as hell. You know, the ways they find to get around, the way they find to do things, the way they find to interact with people. You know, amazing. They're talented. They're capable. You know, yeah, you got to make a few adjustments for personality quirks, you know, related to certain mental disabilities that nobody can see. Yeah, they're a little strange. Some of them like to hug you a lot. You know, I know that isn't always comfortable for some people. You know, it took a little time. Was meeting with somebody the other night. You know, a little bit of a germaphobe, went to shake their hand, and they go, nah, this is my hand. I can do the fist bump. Can't shake your hand, though. Yeah, everybody's got quirks, you know. And that's what it is about consent. Understand what their limits are, understand what your limits are, and eventually you're able to come to an agreement on what's an acceptable balance between what your limits are, what my limits are, and how to compensate for somebody's disability so that they can make your life better through their intelligence and their talents and their skills. You know, and true, not everybody's suited for everything. But when you take time to accommodate somebody so that they can become good and talented at what it is they do, it makes the world a better place. You know, no, my bit with disabilities, you know, compassion. A lot of really smart people out there. Take care of them. You know, but again, this goes back to your voluntarism. Step up, help somebody. You know, if they're working in a place that isn't convenient, you know, for their particular disability, help them make arrangements with their employer so that they can get that accessibility that they need. You know, get them that ergonomic keyboard for the carpal tunnel syndrome. You know, there's no shortage of ways you can volunteer in order to help facilitate somebody with a disability so that they can be a productive member of your community. Yeah, and we don't need to legislate that every building be, you know, handicap accessible in all 50 different ways. You know, because that's just a barrier to entry. You know, it's a barrier to entry for those employers, you know, who want to create jobs, you know, for those stores, you know, the entrepreneurs who want to be able to sell something. You know, there's going to be like 1 in 20 people who ever visit their store who's ever going to need, you know, 1 in 100 that's ever going to need that particular kind of accessibility. And more often than not, there's another way to achieve it. You know, but we need to work more with voluntarism rather than legislation in order to make it happen. So, yep, it's after 8 o'clock. It's been awesome talking to all of you. Hope we can do this again. I got one more time where I'm doing this. Step in Thursday night, 7 to 8. We'll talk some more about other issues. Go ahead and leave some notes on the page, and we'll be sure to bring them up here in 2 days. In the meantime, we're a week out. We got about 4 more days of early voting, And then if you haven't voted by then, you have to wait till next Tuesday. But next Tuesday, all of this will be done, for good or for bad.
And
We'll be stuck with whoever you guys voted for. I'm hoping it's me, but I'm a little bit biased. You guys have a great evening. Talk to you later.